Welcome back. This is video number 6. You're over halfway there. I hope you're able to pick up some of these skills and start implementing them on a regular basis. We're going to start getting into the really fun stuff here. Topic of this video is sorting information, or actually formatting the information as a table so that it's easier to sort. So I'm going to share out my screen. If you haven't downloaded the workbook, I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a broken record. Feel free to download that from the description below. And then we're going to jump right in here. And if yours doesn't look like mine, more than likely you'll have to follow along in the videos and make sure that you're following those steps. But if your screen looks like my screen, then let's dig in. So formatting as a table is going to be found on the Home tab here. And we have this button called Format as a Table. But there's one important step to do before we actually click on that button. So since we've added a merged and centered cell as the header of this workbook, we're actually going to want to click and select all of our information in our worksheet. So yes, this requires a scroll, but if we don't have just the information we're looking to turn into a table selected, it's going to try to incorporate that merged and center, and it could get a little messy. So either feel free to delete that first row of the title of your workbook and add that back in when you're ready to go to print. So you can just do a quick Control-A to select all of the information, or just highlight by clicking and holding and dragging down to the end of your data set. Once you've done this, and we know for a fact that our headers are in the first row of our selection, we're going to click on that Format as Table, and I always click on the little down arrow here, and I'm a little biased. I use black outlines where everything is going to be outlined, all of our cells. I like the gradient rows, so there's a gray gradient and a white in between rows, and then I've turned my header row into black background with white text. Obviously, you can use any of the ones they have available here. This is what I'm a little biased towards, and as soon as I click on that type of table, it's actually telling me here a formula of everything that I've selected. And whenever you see this cash sign, the dollar sign within a formula, it's going to remain universal. What's nice about this is that if we had to add in manually another row, as long as we're above row 502, the formula itself will automatically adjust. Not something you need to know right out of the gate, but just know that when you're seeing dollar signs within formulas, it's locking in that row. So it's making it a universal selection. We do want to tell the system that our table already has headers. That's the first row in that selection that I made. And then when we click OK, it's going to manipulate all of that information and turn that into a table. So now we have these little drop downs next to our headers here, and say I wanted to just filter to our vegan guests. If I click on the drop down arrow here, this dietary restrictions column becomes the header of this little pop-up that I get, and then I have the ability to either sort, which we're going to get into some more advanced sorting in just a second here, or I can select exactly what I want to look for. So if I uncheck the select all button and just check the vegan, it's going to take that information and hide the rest of that data so that I'm just seeing our vegan guests. Pretty cool, right? So if I wanted to just see our gluten-free, dairy-free guests, I can check on and off all of these other options and sort that information for just the information that I'm looking for. So keep in mind that if you wanted to, you could copy and paste all of that information into another workbook, which we'll do here towards the end. For now, we want to select all again to turn them all back on. And if I wanted to, I could sort by ascending information. So if I wanted to alphabetize by dietary selection, I would just click ascending and it's going to put gluten-free first, and then everyone else alphabetically here. We're going to dig in a little bit further on how to add multiple sorts to a column, but this is the easiest way to kind of start filtering that information as you are looking at it once it's formatted as a table. So as I said before, if we needed to add in an additional guest, if I right click on any row and insert above, it's going to give me a blank row, but we're going to see if we go to the bottom of our formatted table that we don't have an extra row here that's not included. It's actually captured that additional row. And so this is a way for me to add an additional data point or a data piece into our puzzle, and it will automatically capture that, and I can resort that alphabetically if need be, and it'll just fall right in line. Say we do have a piece of data that falls outside of our data set. Just as we see in the cell when we select it, there's a little box here that we covered before in the previous video. Same goes for our table format. So if I take this column, and you saw that my cursor icon changed into this little box with 2 arrows, if I take this and start to drag it down a little bit, it's actually going to incorporate and apply that format of our table to those 2 rows that I just drug it down to. So if there's information falling outside of your table that you want included, feel free to drag that down here. So this is the easiest way to format and manipulate a table. So if I wanted to alphabetize our registrants, all I would have to do is click on ascending there, and it gives me alphabetical order. If I wanted to sort by registration type, so all I care about is that our booth staff only, or our attendee day pass, or Tuesday only. So dietary restrictions for Tuesday, I would select that. We only have 2 registrants that are registered for Tuesday only. And so I can clearly see that it's not going to be something that I spend my time on, so to speak. So really easy way to start manipulating information as it's sent over to you. Next step is going to be the sort feature. So stay tuned on how we're going to further sort information in our spreadsheet.